Now on your Monday morning drive.
He was absolutely dominant, and he has won the 2018 Century Tournament of Champions.
The best player in the world kicked off his 2018 with a bang. We'll show you the keys to Dustin Johnson's runaway win in Maui, as he's now picked up a victory in 11 straight seasons. Plus, our sports psychologist will explain why this may be only the beginning for the top-ranked player in the world. And speaking of dominance.
And Tiger Woods wins for the third time at Torrey Pines.
No player has dominated a course the way Tiger has at Torrey Pines. He has confirmed he'll be starting his year on the course where he has authored 8 wins. Could that familiarity breed the kind of success he needs to springboard himself back towards the top of the game? And we are live on site all morning long in Boca Raton as Morgan Pressel's charity golf event kicks off. Hear from Morgan herself, as well as names like Paula, Christy, Lexi, and many more as they get together for a wonderful cause. It's all ahead on Morning Drive this Monday, January 8th, 2018.
Hey everyone, hope your Monday is off to a good start. I'm Lauren Thompson, the rest of our team in moments. Let's get the week started on Morning Drive, revving things up, kicking it back to a few years ago with this by Phil Mickelson. You probably remember this shot. You may have often tried to replicate it yourself. Roger Cleveland just 3 feet in front of Phil, and with zero hesitation, the 5-time major champ barely clearing the top of Cleveland's head with that lob wedge action before heading towards the green. Now it's dangerous to recreate, but Sweden's Madeline Sagstrom just took a stab at it. She and her caddy Josh Williams out at Orange County National. Let's see how this shakes out. Ouch! Little bit painful. Good thing he was turned around. Also good that he had the hat on. Madeline making a good laugh at this. Now good to see that Josh is at least doing well and still has a smile on his face as we turn it on over and say good morning to Damon Hack and Charlie Reimer. Fellas, looked a little painful.
It did, LT. Good morning to you. Have you done that before, either as the recipient or the hitter?
I did it one time with Gary, and I hit him, but it was on purpose. But I wouldn't suggest that you try that with anybody, Damon. I wouldn't be trying to hit over anyone.
You'd probably have to cover their
short game.
Ankles, probably the way I hit my little
wouldn't get them face on if you tried it.
Let's talk about someone who actually has a nice short game. How about Dustin Johnson? He's what's happening now. Now a 2-time winner of the Century Tournament of Champions. He won back in 2013, and yesterday, how about this? An 8-shot win over Jon Rahm, the largest margin of victory in DJ's career. His 17th win on the PGA Tour, 11 straight seasons with the victory, has a stranglehold on that number 1 ranking. Charlie, let's go back to yesterday, the par 4 6th, a driving clinic.
Yeah, this really was over before it ever even got started. DJ knew that if he drove the ball well today on this golf course, the golf course that he's never shot over par on, that really no one was going to catch him. And it's that 5th gear he can go to that really only a couple players in the field have, that enabled him to make a hole like this simply a drive and a pitch and a putt. In some cases, and we'll get to it in a minute, it was just a drive and a putt.
How about this on number 12, a drive we'll be playing over and over again today and throughout the year, I imagine.
Yeah, it certainly is an impressive drive. There's no doubt about that. DJ went at that maybe a little bit harder than we saw him go at some of the other ones. And I know Brandel was all excited about this last night on Golf Central, but Brandel's only 4 feet tall. He can't do that. I mean, I could bring Maurice Allen out there. Maurice Allen could hit a 3-wood on this green. So it's really cool. But I mean, DJ can do that. It's something that we expected from him. I mean, he wasn't trying to hit it up there close to the hole. He knew if he put it on the right line that it could get down there, and that's exactly what happened. He's had good luck on this hole. This was in round 3. This was a heck of a shot right here, the touch. And I'll be real honest with you. Watching DJ play shots like this, watching DJ go 4 days without having a 3-putt, looking at DJ's putting stats and knowing that he hasn't had a 3-putt since September, that impresses me more than this one right here that we're having another look at. I mean, this is just what he does. He was born to do this.
Yep.
Nobody else really can do it except maybe a handful of PGA Tour players, and certainly nobody at home watching can do it. It's really cool to watch. Consider Brian Harmon hit a 3-wood off the tee and had 130 yards in. But when you match the ability to do that with the short game, that's when you get someone getting to number 1 in the world.
It's 5 under on the 12th hole for the week. Par, birdie, eagle, eagle. Now let's go back fourth hole, or his par 4 14th hole, I should say, another drivable green. I mean, this is ridiculous.
Well, what was cool about this is 12 was downwind. He was putting that up in the air and letting the wind carry it. There, he had to deal with some wind coming in and from the left, and he flighted it down low and ran it in. And this is going back upstairs again. This would have been the same sort of ball flight. We had the Pro Tracer on the tee ball there at 12, just sort of up in the air, falling a little bit left to right. I mean, that's what DJ does. That's what triggered this run that he's been on that's gotten him to #1 in the world. He, figured out how to drive the ball better by learning how to cut it. Ask him about that. How'd you learn how to cut it? And he said, well, I just aim left and cut it. And it's just that simple. And then he got really, really good with his wedges, and now he's figured out this putting. He doesn't have to make everything he looks at. I go back to the 3 putts. Similar to the way Jack Nicklaus played the game. Give himself opportunities. Don't 3-putt. Don't make mistakes. If he drives the ball well, wedges it well, and makes his share of putts, he's going to be hard to beat.
He's making it look simple. Let's hear from the world #1 on how he got it done.
I've been playing well all week, so I came out today. I didn't change anything with my game plan. I felt like I had a good game plan for the course, and the wind's blowing in the same direction, so it's kind of playing similar as it has every day. And I knew I just needed to drive it well. That was my big thing. If I drove it well, I was going to play good. And I put that new M4 driver in last week, and I drove it fantastic this week.
We remember how DJ started 2017. What will he have in store for 2018? He continues to distinguish himself in our game. Look at the most consecutive seasons with the win. DJ now 11. Of course, Jack and Arnie side by side with 17. You see Tiger Woods at 14 consecutive seasons with the win. Charlie, many of us are not going to drive the golf ball like Dustin Johnson. I would say none of us can, but there are some things we can learn from the #1 player in the world.
Yeah, in particular, short game. Okay. He has a very simple, basic approach to the short game. He's got good, solid technique, and he practices his tail off. That's why he's really good at it. On the other side of the equation is Phil Mickelson, who has all this crazy talent, who hits all these crazy shots that you really can't play.
Right.
You can play these shots that I'm going to show you right here from Dustin Johnson. This is at 6, the par 4. This is his second shot. You can see it's a little one. This is likely that 64 that he's put in his bag. Go ahead and roll this. This is a basic standard shot. It's sitting down in the rough a little bit. He doesn't have to worry about it spinning. He knows it's going to release. All he does is get up there with that basic stance with a little weight left, the ball back, and his hands forward. He comes in with a normal square club face, knows that ball is going to loft up in the air because it's got grass around it. It's not going to spin. That's not anything that's fancy, complicated.
Standard fare.
Damon, if you practice hard enough, you can learn to be competent using a technique like this. It's nothing like Phil Mickelson crazy, you know, with stuff from space coming in and hitting these shots at curve and have all sorts of spin. It's just basic stuff that requires a lot of practice.
How about this? Because this to me looked a little crazy on 8. This is a tough bunker shot, is it not?
Right. Again, go ahead and roll. This is a very deep bunker. Yeah. He's got a little green to work with. That helped him a little bit. This is a really good shot. There's no doubt about that. And I'm going to show you something he did in this shot that will help you when you get an uneven line in the bunker. Look at that right knee. Okay? He maintains his knee flex. So many times when people get a bunker shot that's down, the ball's below them, they got to get the ball up in the air, they're lifting up the knees. As soon as you start lifting up, you're not going to have good contact.
You'll skull it sometimes.
So again, this is great fundamentals. He gets in there, he goes, I've got to get level and I've got to maintain that height.
Yes.
If he has the discipline to do that, he's got a chance of playing a good shot like he did right there.
I like it. We saw 6, we saw 8, this is 9.
Okay, and so there's a little bit of green to work with up over this bunker. It's not like he's trying to hit a flop shot over the bunker and stop it. There's a little bit of room. But what he's dealing with here, and this gets a lot of people, that grain is coming right back into him. Okay, so he knows that when he comes down, that grain is going to stop that club. He knows that. So he's got to have enough speed to accommodate for that. Let's go ahead and roll it. And again, this is a basic shot. Back in the stance, weight forward. Nothing complicated about that other than he's just got good technique and he practices it a lot. Look at this ball right here. The club stopped by that grass.
Yeah.
Did a good job, did his homework. He's got a lot of experience on this golf course. He knew what was going to happen there. It's not like he's trying to invent some new complicated way to play this game. It's old school basics done over and over and over again. Just like his wedge play, proximity to the hole, he's one of the best in the business. How did he get that way? It's not any fancy technique. It's good, solid technique and a lot of hard practice.
Charlie, you got me excited to play golf again, and hopefully you at home as well. Let's send it back to LT.
I think a lot of people are going to be working on that shot later today. Just a hunch. Charlie, you made that demo look excellent, made it look easy, but also time now for one of our favorite initiatives on Morning Drive. Golf Cares, where we take some time to draw attention to all the good that the game does, raising over $3.8 billion annually through golf events. And today, that number, it's going to grow. It's the 11th annual Morgan and Friends Fight Cancer Tournament, a passion project by the major champion, unfortunately brought on by the passing of her mother, Catherine, to drive attention to breast cancer research, detection, overall awareness, really. It's taking place at Morgan's home course, St. Andrews Country Club in Boca Raton, Florida, with the money raised going to patient care and further research at the Boca Raton Regional Hospital, as well as the Sylvester Cancer Center at the University of Miami. And it's also where we sent our own Gary Williams and Paige McKenzie to give you the inside scoop as we welcome them both in from Boca Live. Good morning, you two.
Good morning, Lauren. It's great to be here alongside friend and colleague Paige McKenzie. And Paige, you know, the impetus of this event was caused by sadness and sorrow and loss. But really today it's about inspiration and hope and the belief that something can be done to cure something that is a real hideous disease in our society.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of the LPGA friends of Morgan come together to support her in this event. It's been going on, like Lauren said, for 11 years, and each and every year we're hearing those inspirational stories of how what Morgan has done and the money that she's raised, how it's really made an impact, how it's really changed people's lives.
It has. Now, your relationship with Morgan goes back. You got a little bit of a head start as far as your advancement in the game and age, just a smidge.
A little older.
But I want you to take us back to first impressions of who she was then and what she is now.
You know, I think a lot of people remember the famous 2005 U.S. Open where head on her hands when she almost won the U.S. Open as a young teenager. And she really has matured and grown, and she's become not the precocious teenager anymore. She's now not only a role model, an inspiration, but a heavy influence, not just inside the ropes, but outside the ropes. And I think her legacy in the game of golf is growing year in and year out, and she will be remembered not only for what her accomplishments were on the putting surface, but also outside the ropes.
You were the two best amateurs at the time. Tell that quick story about you. It looked like you guys would meet in the final of the North-South, one of the best amateur events, certainly in the world, and it didn't happen.
No, at Pinehurst #2, we were opposite sides of the bracket, two of us playing great golf all summer long, and then I lost to Yanni Sen, who was very unknown at the time in the semifinals, and then she went on to face Morgan Pressel in the finals. Morgan and I were walking through a Taiwan the hotel with all the trophies lined up, and the Putter Boy trophy was right there. And out of the blue, Morgan just looks at me and goes, "Doesn't that just tick you off?" We both feel like we could have gotten that trophy. Yanni took it from both of us.
Well, we're going to be joined by her, and that's not the only major champion that's going to be joining us this morning on Morning Drive from Boca Raton. We've got a list of other major champions: So Young Yu, Christy Kerr, Brooke Henderson, Paula Creamer, Lexi Thompson, and Paige's. It's not just about chatter to this morning. It's also going to be about getting these players to give you some tips for your own game as well, as we send it back to Studio AP and Lauren.
Thank you so much, Gary. Good stuff ahead for sure from St. Andrews Country Club, but also ahead this morning, golf's way of getting you ready for tonight's national championship game between Alabama and Georgia. So looking at the tour pros from these teams, which alums do you believe are set for more wins in 2018? We're going to glance back at the bragging rights from 2017 and then spin it forward to this new year. See if our crew lines up with your predictions. Now, 2018, it also brings on competitive tee times for a 14-time major champion, just 3 weeks away from the Farmers Insurance Open. So how does author and blogger Jeff Shackelford think Torrey Pines is going to treat Tiger Woods? You might be surprised as he tries to back up his argument. You also might be pretty surprised as we revisit what happened on this date in golf history. Raymond Floyd, a World Golf Hall of Fame member. He's done a lot of things throughout his career, but take what you saw this past weekend in Hawaii and get ready to process what he pulled off on January 8th over 2 decades ago, because Damon Hack, I bet it's going to stun some of our viewers.
No doubt about it, LT. You mentioned it. National championship football tonight, Alabama and Georgia. Now, Justin Thomas is an Alabama alum. He has a message for Georgia alum Kevin Kisner. Then you hear from Kisner on the other side.
Kids, we got a big game coming up next Monday. We got the national championship, my Tide versus your Bulldogs. There's a word around the tour that you're a pretty big Bulldog fan, not that I know myself, but I think we should have a little wager on this game. I think the loser of the game has to wear the opposite team's jersey with your last name on the back of it. What do you say?